All right, we're kicking it.
We are live now, but give me a second. I'm going to go back. Well, and unfortunately, I know I gave you that link as well, Greg. So anybody that you'd sent that out to has the old link. Hopefully, they'll get the new one.
Hold on, I'm going to get someone right now.
All right, guys, we're coming back. I see at least 10 people in here watching. Let me pop out the chat.
That's right. In case it was the manga shirt, we've gone Boba Fett.
Well, my investigation skills lead me to believe it's a YouTube problem, as I did have one. There's only me and one kid here. He was playing Fortnite. He was Wi-Fi-ing, but he had no problems, no lag, no nothing.
Maybe Fortnite was grabbing the bandwidth.
So I think, well,
although
I was
hardwired.
Yeah, we just did a speed test. Everything's off the charts. Good. So if there is a problem, it might be YouTube.
Go ahead, Greg.
For what it's worth, I did a speed test too, and I'm solid here.
Good.
So, wait. All right. Maybe it's YouTube. We're back in.
All right.
It's alive. It's alive.
Let's just start over real quick and assume that the other feed is crap. Nobody saw or heard anything. Greg, just real quick, introduce yourself again and your documentary. Give us a little brief.
Sure. I'm Greg Swartz, and I am the director of The Water of Life, which is a film about the creativity and craftsmanship at the heart of the Scotch whiskey industry. We are in the middle, about 2/3 the way through an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign to help get the film made, and I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I was better rehearsed the first time. One take, Charlie.
And we are drinking Lafroy Quarter Cask right now. Anyway, Greg's got a healthy pour. We happen to have a bottle with us.
I was looking for the can.
Oh, it's back there.
We were going to show it. Oh, it's back there. It's right there. You put it back. It was on the ground. Boom. We got it going on.
I got it over the other side of the room.
For those tuning in, too, this is our first go with our new kind of studio setup here. So it might be some growing pains. I put Bart back on the left, me on the right.
That's where I needed to be. It's confusing before. A lot of pivoting. So we're good. Well, tell us a little bit, Greg, about where you're at in the filming process.
Sure. Okay. So we raised part of the money through private investors and took that money and went to Scotland and shot about between a quarter and a third of the film already.
Cool.
One of the reasons we did that is we had decided that one of the people we really wanted to focus on was Jim McEwen, who's in the process of starting a new distillery right now. And we thought that was a pretty compelling angle for the, sort of tie-in. And he invited us to come for the Feshiel. So we said, all right, well, we got to make that happen, because I was originally going to go in late June. So we went in late May instead, and I'm really, really glad we did. We had a great time there, had some great whiskey there, and I think we got a lot of really compelling stuff, not just with him, but with Ardnahoe was a bit behind schedule. Scotland had a pretty brutal winter, and their roof wasn't on in time, and they kind of threw them off schedule, so they weren't open for the Feshiel. I think that was the original intent, but that didn't keep us from getting really good stuff. So yeah, we're planning to go back in October and shoot the rest then. For about 15 days in October. So
beautiful. Huh. Wonderful.
So we're going to talk about the movie here for a little bit, though. But Indiegogo is a crowdsourcing, fundraising, fan-based.
Right. You got Kickstarter, you got Indiegogo.
We're on Patreon, another sort of fan fundraising, crowdsourcing. Indiegogo.
Yep.
.com and Water of Life Film. You can go look. You've got different tiers set up for different rewards for people that.
Yeah, I'll be completely frank. We chose Indiegogo in part because they have less onerous rules about alcohol-related projects than Kickstarter does.
Okay.
I think Kickstarter actually might have a bigger footprint, especially in the film side of things, but we felt like this was a good fit. Yeah, and it's sort of all perk-based, where people are actually getting things in exchange for their backing us.
Sure.
We're pretty excited about the perks we have, because we're not allowed to just straight up give away whiskey over the internet, but we've kind of come up with a lot of different events people can get to that would entail them getting whiskey, both through our perks, through our supporters, but also, for example, this coming Wednesday in LA, we're doing a Bruichladdich tasting that's going to feature 2 different Octomores and a Black Art.
Nice.
And we're going to, at the event, raffle off one of Brooklotti's Feshiel releases from this year.
Wow.
We already raffled off the other one. So, and yeah, on our wateroflifefilm.com is our website normally, and during our campaign, it just points to our Indiegogo page. So it's because it's a lot easier to remember than, Indiegogo.com/XYZ1784B21, So yeah, and that's where we put all of our perks are all there. People can get invited to the premiere. People can do online whiskey tastings with us. People can go to Scotland with us while we shoot the film. We haven't had anyone take us up on that one yet.
Yeah, that would be a big boy.
Yeah, that is a big.
On the Indiegogo site, on your little bio that you have, you were you were a newspaper reporter in Pennsylvania.
What?
You packed up and left to go to LA to become a film director, basically, or get into the film industry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, walk us through that. How did that happen? Well,
that was a bit of impetuousness for, I was 26 at the time and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was a reporter at the daily paper in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I had a good job. I was the music writer. I got to go to concerts mostly for a living, which, newspapers aren't such a hot choice for a career anymore, but at the time it was pretty killer.
That's Amish country too.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. That's where I was recently as 1 o'clock today.
There was a big board game convention was there.
Come on, dude.
It was the World Board Gaming Championships were held in Lancaster.
Well, just the other day was the National Fishing Lore Collectors Convention.
There you go. They got cool stuff there. I'm telling you, there's stuff the family can do while I'm playing board games. They're off checking out Amish
fishing lore,
farms and stuff. Sorry, go ahead. I love board games, so I will take the conversation afield if I'm not reeled in. Continue.
Right by the convention center, there is a really great whiskey bar that actually hosted a fundraiser for us the other night called Tell Us 360, and they have a whiskey society with passports and everything. And
wow,
they did a Brooklotti event for us the other night that was pretty killer.
Awesome.
So I flew in for our family trip 3 days early so I could go to that. So yeah, but I moved to California and I went to the UCLA screenwriting program and got a job working at Warner Brothers for a little while, but neither of those really took. So I started working for a lot of freelance producers, doing a lot of car-related stuff for years. Meanwhile, studying about theatrical stuff and trying to do my own narrative film things. And this kind of came up out of nowhere. I've done sort of corporate documentary stuff before, but this is the first kind of pure standalone feature documentary I've ever done. We did a big food thing last year that worked out pretty well, and we were really excited about it. And then when I went on this trip to Scotland, this all kind of came to be out of that. Did you guys freeze up on me? I don't.
Got you.
You guys are frozen on me.
Let's see. Let me watching her here to see what. Oh boy. Oh, we can still hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
All right. Oh, we're checking a few things again now. We're rolling really well. Hold on. Usually we call that a hitch. Oh boy.
Yeah, right now you sound like Kylo Ren.
Great reference. Yeah, we're lagging a little bit on our end.
Just bumped through though.
Okay, just picked up.
Yeah, I see. Slowly kind of rounding into clarity.
Okay. Yeah,
So
we're showing
modem-
good now, but yeah, we're popping on. Something's going wrong on
My
our
cable
end.
modem is the next to get switched out.
Okay, you got us back.
Yeah.
Dang, Kylo Ren though, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Scott's stress levels going through the roof here though.
Yeah.
There's some heavy sighing going on over here.
You know,
Have another dram.
Can I tell you something? I can relate. Last month we went to instead of opening Ardnahoe, Jim McEwen did a thing, the kinship tasting that he does every year.
Right.
He picks 9 whiskeys and he does this 2-hour master class of these 9 whiskeys of other Isla whiskeys. And we got to go as their guests, and our DP was setting up the camera. We got there early, and there's 6 whiskeys on everyone's placemat. already poured, ready to go. Custom placemats. The whole thing's beautiful. There's a piper playing outside. Our DP says to me, "Can you hand me my backpack?" I pick it up with one hand, I swing it over, and I didn't realize that he had swinging from the bottom of it. One of those things that pops open, a reflector.
Right.
And just wipes out the whiskey on my placemat. Now, only 2 spilled, because the Glencairn glasses, even if they fall over, they won't spill right away. Right. Only 2 spilled, but the whole place went dead silent. And, man, they couldn't have been nicer about it. And our DP took me aside and he said, "You need to just let it go, because I can tell how stressed you are. And we got 2 hours of this, so you're just gonna have to let that go." So I can relate to your stress.
Whiskey will cure it. I think we're looking good.
Tell us a little bit. What does a director do? I know we've got, so there's producers, directors.
You're behind. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a narrative feature, they direct the performances, but in a documentary, it's more, the sort of the creative vision has to kind of flow through me. And I was the one who, look, a lot of the people in this film are regular collaborators of mine. We work together a lot. We have a sort of a shorthand. Our DP, Brad, and Alphonse and I have known each other for 25 years, and we're all from Pennsylvania. And Trevor's my business partner, and and Leslie Ann and I worked together 10 years ago. So I don't want to, for a second, and this isn't, this isn't a false thing. This is true. I don't want for a second to think that this is a singular vision, but I'm the conduit that it flows through, and I sort of determined the scope of the film. At first we were going to make a whiskey film. What did that mean? And was it going to be all whiskey? Were we going to do all Scotch whiskey? Were we going to talk about how Macallan set a new price record? How are we going to talk about Macallan's new distillery? And bit by bit, I sort of kind of shaved that away until I got to where I wanted to be, which, to me, I always compare it unapologetically to The Chef's Table, because I love The Chef's Table. I think it's great. Because the real challenge with a food film like that is no one can taste the food. So you have to make a film that makes them feel like they're tasting the food. And that's the challenge that I really like. That we want to get into this sort of creative process enough with these guys that there's 3 ingredients, but they all taste different. And how do they get to that point? And how do they, this is such a terrible pun, I'm sorry, but how do they, distill that down to the point that they can kind of recreate results, but they're different results from every different place. And it's whether it's the line arm or the size of the still or the cut, or, whether it's peated or floor malted, what kind of barley, what kind of yeast. It's amazing to me. I love it.
Beautiful.
So I don't know if I answered your question.
That's it. That is exactly it. Because that's what we like all whiskey, but I lean toward Scotch just because of the range of flavors that are, especially within Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
And again, nothing against, I love rye, I love bourbon, I love all the American single malts that are coming out. But yeah, the way that just those 3 ingredients can vary so much. A lot of it is the terroir and where it's at and how they're doing it. So yeah, I mean, I agree that the dive is real. So the focus, nailed it.
Now you're on the logo on the front page under the picture for the water, just a little bit that you have. The water documentary about Scotch Master Distillery ongoing create whiskey.
You're breaking up a bit.
Oh God.
I know you were quoting the page. The ongoing quest to create the world's best whiskey. Yeah.
Dang,
we've been running clean on live streams.
We've been no problems, and I've been having problems. That's why I decided to. Actually, I had Cox do a check, and everything checked fine. So they said it's inside the house.
That's our cable provider. They said it's inside the house.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like the whole the phone call from inside your house.
Yeah, she pinged it and everything, and all our signals.
The murderer is inside your house.
Either the router or the modem. So I went with the router first.
I'm getting you now. Pretty good. So
good. We do have some cowbell. Let's do some cowbell. That's going to make you feel better. See you soon, Scott. We got a $5.
It's down there.
You don't even want to ring it. So hold on. I'm looking. I'm reaching. I'm in a blind set. I don't want to knock over a bottle.
No, there's no only.
All right. See. All right.
That super chat from Swami,
Yes,
malted in Montreal.
Right. Scott needs some more support. Woo!
Are we still chopping out?
We're good. No, he's got.
You're good now. You're good now. But I polished off my healthy pour already.
that was a healthy pour.
We're about ready to start getting into the good information then. From
Right.
Greg.
Well, that was good information. You had the
Yeah,
point.
but now that he's done with the pour and he's had now, you know, that blood ABV's picking up, we're gonna start getting wild and crazy.
Great. Yeah. We already got the knocking over the dram story.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm out.
That would drive. Yeah, I can imagine the place just going into a hush.
Yeah, well, at least the glasses didn't roll off the table and shatter. That would have been way worse.
Now, I gotta ask, did they refill you?
They did. And then the guy jokingly said, "That'll be 500 pounds, please."
Wow. Are you able to tell? Well, it's probably, I don't know if it's in the movie or not. Are you able to tell us which two spilled?
Oh, let's see. The Jura and Highland Park, I want to say.
Okay.
You know what? Here, I'm going to look. I actually have it written down here. Give me 1 second. I'm still talk while I'm doing this.
Oh, you're good. We'll fill in. Scott is working through the cowbell issues.
So you were asking me a question about the Indiegogo. I know that.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll come back in. He was reading off. He read off a good part of your page.
Oh.
Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Bobby Parnell.
Another cowbell from Bobby Parnell.
And
Thank you, Bobby.
What we do is, by the way, more cowbell. Anytime we get a super chat that comes in, they get a little cowbell. Scott is feeling the cowbell. Scott is that was almost a subtle cowbell ring. Now I'm getting an eyebrow roll. You're okay. We're rolling good.
We're good.
Yeah,
there's some glitches, but we're all right.
So I have the list here. The two I spilled were Highland Park 21-year-old.
Oh.
And Bowmore 21-year-old. I did not spill the Springbank 25-year-old, the Jura 25-year-old, the Lafroig 20-year-old, or the evening's absolute winner. They voted. We all voted, and it was almost unanimous, was the 30-year-old Bunnahabhain.
Wow. Well, there you go. Good. And they refilled you anyway. Good sport.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Now your question, your point right off his Indiegogo.
You in your text, it's your quest to find the ongoing quest to create the world's best whiskey in dealing with Scotland's master distillers. Why did you focus on Scotland and not include bourbons, America's whiskeys, world whiskeys? Well,
we knew we needed to narrow our scope because we wanted to do a deep dive. We didn't want to do a broad thing. There was, I don't know if you've seen that. It's on Amazon Prime, that Scotch, The Story of Whiskey, from about 2 years ago. And it's a 3-parter, and it's good, but it's literally about the world of whiskey. They go to Japan, they go to Australia, they do that, and it's good. It's just not what I wanted to do. And I wanted to take, at first, the idea was to take one distiller and really, really go deep. But then what I realized, this is a bit filmmaker-y, but one of the things I realized was that distilling itself isn't the most cinematic thing in the world, because the best distiller in the world and the worst distiller in the world still do the same things. That whereas chef, if you're a sushi chef or an Italian chef, what you're doing looks differently. But if I'm making, I don't want to, say a bad whiskey, but if you're making really bad whiskey, or you're making, the black art, you're still, it looks the same. So then we thought, well, maybe we find more of the human story, and we do a couple of distillers and sort of really explore the creative process that they go through and how they come to the decisions they make. So we would love nothing more than for this to go well and then go do one about bourbon. I actually had a meeting with Jack Lark the other day, and I've never been to Australia, and I'd like to go and do a thing about Tassie whiskeys.
Beautiful.
Really,
that would be great.
Expand that, But right now we're just we wanted to start sort of in the motherland. And
beautiful.
There.
So I know someone asked earlier, it might have been George Kaplan, how far are you into the process of making the movie?
45%.
I'd say about 25 to 30% in.
Okay.
We did a lot of interviews. We did a lot of great interviews. But what we didn't do is I don't want to dumb something down too much. We didn't shoot what's, you know, B-roll. We didn't shoot a lot of the process stuff. We didn't shoot a lot of the tiny, tiny little details of mashing, of a worm tub. You know, these days you can put cameras anywhere you want. And right now, I have a guy who I know, a barley farmer who has GoPros all over his farm doing time lapses for me, so we can watch the barley grow over the course of the season. You know, like that takes months. You know, so
that's cool.
That kind of stuff. We want to go back with drones. We've actually started a very tongue-in-cheek little web video series called Whiskey and Drones, where I told our executive producer that all you need to make movies is whiskey and drones, and so that's become the name of our little recurring video series. It's Whiskey and Drones.
Beautiful.
So yeah, the hard stuff is still to come. I mean, well, that's not necessarily true. The interviews are not easy, especially when you want to really get into the details of someone's process and get them to trust you enough to share stuff with you.
Right. Yeah, I would say that's the really. And then asking the interesting question that leads things that you don't know.
Yeah. The technical stuff is hard for other people. That stuff is hard for me. You know, but one of the distillers, I don't know if you guys have come across the Glasgow Distillery yet. And they just released their very first single malt about a month ago, 1770. And so someone we've been talking to recommended them a lot as an up and coming distillery because they started as a one-man operation in a shed, and the guy who runs the place is a guy named Liam Hughes, and he couldn't have been nicer to us. And it's a good kind of flip side of the coin of people like Jim McEwen, you know, and now they're growing, and they actually invited me to come work there for a week. So I'm going to do that.
Sweet.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be real cool.
Yeah. Name some of the different distilleries that you've been to initially here when you went over, and I mean, what's kind of impressed you the most, or what has really stood out?
Well, I think the thing that impressed me the most was the openness of all of them. Everyone we went to, you know, both on Isla and in Speyside. So we went to Brooklotti, we went to Lafroig, we went to Beaumont, had a great interview with David Turner. We went to Kilhoman on their festival day. We popped into Kalila, but I'll tell you the one that really blew me away. And I know I told you this earlier. I'm kind of having a sherry moment these days. Is we went to Bunnahabhain. We did the Warehouse 9 grams, and I just was blown away by some of the whiskeys I had there, and the reception that we got there. We went to the Art Nouveau work site, but then we went back to the mainland, and we went to we spent a day at Gordon and MacPhail, and got to go to their samples room, and got to go to the Generations. I saw the world's oldest bottle of whiskey. Didn't get to drink it, but I saw it. Took pictures of it.
Really?
Which is
how old?
Yeah,
75-year-old Mortlock.
Ooh.
And it's in a crazy little teardrop bottle, and you know they're the masters of wood, you know, Gordon and MacPhail, and they have these sort of all these secret proprietary techniques of recasking stuff that they can keep the ABV high enough, they can keep the flavors from getting too woody, and they can keep it going. And you know, I know they've done a bunch of stuff with Macallan. They're like 70, 72-year-old, but this Mortlock is 75. It was distilled in 1939.
Wow. Yeah, I'm with you. Keeping it so it doesn't get too woody.
Yeah.
You like the oak, the wood, whereas I start to, if it gets too oak influenced, then I kind of lose a little interest.
Yeah.
And I love the peat. I'm a cheap date.
Hold on real quick.
Hemp, hemp.
From Hoyt Hemphill. I hate to do that while our guest is talking.
He says, so, great guest tonight.
Yep.
Boom.
Nice shout out to Greg.
No, even what you're doing, though, is a sign of the times. I mean, whiskey, Scotch, but whiskey in general is blowing up, whether it's Tasmanian,
bourbon.
Bourbon's huge rise. Canadians are blowing up. Of course, Japanese, you can't even find the stuff anymore.
Yeah,
Taiwanese is going. So it's I'm hoping what you're doing comes to great success for you. Success, if I can say it right. But then it leads. I would love to see you down in Tasmania.
Yeah, you know, I think there's we genuinely feel like we kind of caught a wave. We've had a couple of people in Scotland say to us, "I can't believe no one's done a film about Jim McEwen yet." Which isn't, we're not quite doing a film about Jim McEwen, but he really is a great way in. He's such a charismatic guy and has such a lifetime of whiskey, you know, and we really think that it's the right time and place for this story.
Got to do a quick one here. Whiskey Throttle gave a super chat, but he says he's going to donate more if I give Bart.
It was like a bribe in here.
A hug.
Oh, God.
And a kiss.
Oh, for 10? And I'm supposed to smile.
I tell him how much, or I tell him I missed him while he was away.
I was on vacation. I was down in Tampa. This is our first show back.
When we started this chat, we had 299 backers on Indiegogo. So I was hoping at some point tonight while we're chatting, we get to 300. But
sweet. Hopefully,
you know,
go back them.
I get pings when it happens. I haven't gotten any pings while we've been chatting so far. That doesn't mean anything necessarily. Uh-oh. I think you froze again. I think you guys froze again.
No. Hear us?
Hold on 1 second.
My God. Out of East Comps. Santa.
What the?
You there?
Yeah, we're here.
Well, I used the new I used that momentary hang up to go fetch this.
You move. I think so. We've not super chat has come in that Scott Craig Barrel calm his a little bit. He's reaching for it now. And then there's Whiskey Throttle. Since Scott came through with that was too easy. How about Bart drinks from the bottle at least and make it a sherry boom? Wow.
Sherry. Oh.
It's boom.
Well, he already gave the challenge and did it. And he already paid.
He did. And
so
again,
now
that's
there's
another
got to
super.
be saying there's another
coming
if you from the bottle.
Well, that could get completely out of hand. I think somebody needs to go, we're going to go on Indiegogo live.
Now,
we're going to do that live, but I want to point the fans, go to Indiegogo, go to Water of Life, and go back. So it's a good time. He's going to get pings live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we will, if we have a bottle of the Bunnahabhain Monia, their Feshiel release, which is a sherry bomb that's also peated. So if someone contributes, you know, at the top 2 tiers tonight, we'll give them that bottle. I mean, that's that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got some high tiers.
I'm making this up as I go.
Sure, keep going. That's good. That's a good follow through. That's good.
I can hear you guys fine, but you're breaking up again visually.
That's all right. We'll get it. We'll get
do a super chat for me to do it. Elijah Craig Bell might calm my nerves.
Calm and do it all. Let me have. I love the ECBP. Dang, if that isn't some of the best bourbon I've ever had in my life.
You know, I just had some really excellent bourbon that's really close to where I'm from Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Really? What was it?
Called I can't remember if it's Hidden Still or Secret Still. Hopefully, I know a lot of our team is watching me right now. Hopefully, one of them will look it up. But it's in Lebanon. It's either Secret Still or Hidden Still. But it was excellent bourbon.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to look that up. Scott is going in.
I'm on your Indiegogo page right now.
It's the Water of Life, Indiegogo, a whiskey film. He's
we might not have said that it was Indiegogo, Water of Life.
The Water of Life.
Wateroflifefilm.com will take you there too. It'll forward you to it. Yeah. Indiegogo.com, and if you just look for Water of Life, you find it too. Perfect. For a while, we were the #1 film on Indiegogo, but I think we've dropped off that. As we've worn on. It comes and goes.
How long are you up on Indiegogo? 30?
Well, we're up for 35 days. We have, I think, 10 days left.
Okay, good. I'm on Kickstarter more than Indiegogo in general. Is it similar where you get a big push in the first couple days and then you get a real big push the last couple days on Indiegogo?
Yep, that's what everyone tells us. We have a guy that's kind of our, consultant, guru, whatever, and that's what he tells us. So yeah,
got it.
A lot of people that think that'll get around to it, and you have to remind them at the end and give them a big nudge.
Alphonse is saying Hidden Still Springs.
Yep, there you go. Yep, he just texted me. He's our web guy. He's one of our producers, and he's our web guy, and he must have looked it up for me. So yeah, Hidden Still.
Great. Kevin Mayato also says, great guest tonight, fellas. And we've got, what is it? The Dan Trout. I saw the bourbon in Lancaster.
All right.
Let's see. Scott's checking on something. I don't know if he's checking.
I had to get the card.
He's always getting the card.
There's a place in Lancaster that just opened up called the Bottle and Shot. And it's all local food and all local liquors, and they have that's where I had the Hidden Still.
Very nice.
I just asked the bartender. I said, I don't know any of these places, so give me the best one, and he did. So
love it. All right, Scott is literally. You should get a notification here soon, but I gotta say, he threw a manga shirt on the floor. That bodes poorly.
It was in my way.
It was in the way. It was in the way.
Well, I shouldn't say this till I get a ping, but I'll tell you this right now. Maybe someone will beat him, but we decided earlier today, whoever's number 300 is getting a free T-shirt.
Woo!
Alphonse, who wrote to you, is designing a bunch of killer T-shirts for us.
Wow, type fast.
What's the billing zip code? 27?
Yes.
So, we're hoping to be done with this in time for the Feshiel and the Spirit of Speyside festivals next year and go back and show it there.
Very nice.
Oh, I just got a notice.
Boom, boom. Are we 300?
I have to look. I don't know.
Whiskey Scout says the manga shirt went down. Yeah, it did.
Yes. Yes, sir. There you go. Alphonse just wrote Bing. Yes.
Bing, bing, baby.
Alphonse you should get his shirt size. He can hear me, so.
Well, we either got the little fella.
Bart needs the shirt.
It would be a 2X. I'm a little bit bigger than this little guy over here.
All right. Now everybody that's watching should go to Indiegogo.com, put in Water Life Film. You can back for, what's your lowest tier? $5?
No, 10. I mean, well,
$10.
Yes, but 10 is, and 20, they get a copy of the film. Anything from 20 up, they get a copy of the movie when we're done. So
perfect.
We figure that at the very least, people are buying the movie and getting their name in the movie. We're going to have everyone's name listed.
Wonderful. And that's perfect. Because that's the part of crowdsourcing that I love. I've done a ton of crowdsourcing. And the idea that you're able to be part of the project and help, even in a small way or in a big way or whatever, to get it to its completion, I'm telling you, phenomenal.
And you know what's funny? The same spirit that surrounds crowdfunding, to me, is the spirit I've encountered in the whiskey world. And I'm not saying that. I swear to God, I mean it. Like everywhere we go, people have been so friendly and welcoming to us and just curious about what we want to do and why. And when we went to Lafroig, we went at the end of their festival day. Like they had all been working all day, and it's a big crowded day. And then they were all the employees were there sitting around having a drink. And John Campbell came right up to us and said, "Are you Greg?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Where do you guys want to talk?" And we went and started chatting with him right away. And he just gave us an interview. I mean, and it was a serious, and the great, I don't know if you've ever heard him talk and tell this. He apparently is quite willing to say this. When he started at Lafroig, he hated it. He hated the whiskey. I guess every employee gets a bottle with a paycheck, and he took it home and he said he just did not like it. And he said he realized he needed to allow himself to learn to like it. And he started studying it and realized he was not only did like it, but that he was good at it, and that's, now he makes it, now he made this.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So
I was slow. The first tasting I was at, they had a Lagavulin 16, which I know it's peated, but it's not like a punch in the face, heavy peat. But at my very first tasting, I was like, oh my God, how can people drink that?
Yeah.
It just tasted ashtray to me. And now I'm so deep in the peat. I'm a peat head. I love it. And it was actually Compass Box, John Glazer with the Peat Monster, and Scott that said, come over and try this. He goes, I'm telling you. I'm like, it's peated. I'm not sure I like it. I don't really like the peat. He's like, just shut up and try it.
Well, John Glazer didn't call you and say, come
No,
on.
no, Scott called over.
I had Compass Box. And I said, come
Yeah.
try this.
Yeah, yeah. John only called last year. That was more of a recent thing rather than.
I think that was this year.
Was it this year? Yeah. Okay.
Actually, we did have John Glazer did come on. He joined us by telephone from
Right.
Scotland or from
London.
From London.
Yeah, we want to go out there. He's got all these beautiful like water coolers that are filled with whiskey. And I'm like, are those really whiskey or is that just some kind of English tea you got going on? He's like, you come out here and try it, and I'll guarantee you there's whiskey in there. And I was like, dang, we got to go.
You know, I'll tell you, I told this to John Campbell too. Most people always ask you about your first whiskey, and I honestly can't really remember my first whiskey, but everyone remembers their first Lafroig. And I vividly remember I was an exchange student in Scotland, so I know my first whiskeys were there, and I know the first bottle of whiskey I ever bought was a Glenlivet 12-year-old, and I went to the Bon Accord when I was 19, and drank all these incredible whiskeys, but
Wow.
The details are lost in a haze of 19-year-old whiskey consumption.
I'm wanting to back up. So you were an exchange student in high school?
No, college, sophomore year. College.
Okay, sophomore year you did an exchange program.
Yeah, in Glasgow.
Where were you at? Glasgow or? Yeah. Sorry, you were in Glasgow?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
And so the guy we met there took us to the Bon Accord and just kind of took us on a whiskey tour. And but the first time I think I ever had Lafroig was my 30th birthday. My buddy JP gave me a bottle for my 30th birthday. He loved it then, and I had never had it. And
so what's that lead into? I call it a genre, where my favorite genre of whiskey, I love sherried scotches. What would you say is your genre of whiskey? I'm having, like I said earlier, I'm having a big sherry moment right now, but I think I really like peated stuff a lot. Hard to say. I'm deeply nerdy about my love of Bruichladdich. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Both the peated and unpeated stuff.
Yeah.
But there's something about the unpeated. I love the Isla Barley, the Bruichladdich Isla Barley. I just absolutely love it.
Well, I'd say on that, try some of the Bunnahabhain, because even some of the Bunnahabhain unpeated stuff to me is very good, and it just stands out. And it is that Isla barley.
When you were up there.
Yeah, and I have I've had a bunch of Bunnahabhains. Our DP Brad has a ridiculous amount of them, and I haven't had all of them yet. And I'm a big fan. I like Kilchoman a lot, but I don't just like Isla whiskeys. I keep trapping myself. I'm a big Glenfarclas fan.
It's the Glenfarclas.
One of my friends in Glasgow, who I've known since I was an exchange student there, she told me that growing up in Dunoon, that she always felt like Glenfarclas is a word your grandmother would say when she wanted to swear, but she didn't want to swear. What in the name of Glenfarclas are you?
Get the Glenfarclas out of here. Yeah, I can see it. I like how he rolls it. He rolls it into like a almost.
Now look at it's a Glenfarclas. This is an independent bottling. This is a 5-year-old Bunnahabhain.
You love the paleness.
From James MacArthur, but this is honestly it was $50. My wife bought it for me. It's one of the best whiskeys I've got on my shelf back here. It's unbelievable for a 5-year-old. It's unpeated Bunnahabhain.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out if I can find it.
Well, I don't think it's that.
What? 5-year what?
It's rare.
It's rare.
It's not that.
It's only 5 years.
When I was in Dufton, we bought a bottle of Hunter Lang independent bottling of a Speybank. Our DP grabbed, and we were both. This was in the middle of a trip of 10 days of world-class whiskey, top to bottom, and in the middle of it, we both had a sort of a whoa moment.
Wow.
It was truly phenomenal.
Now, with your depth, sorry, go ahead. Your depth of experience, we're in a whiskey boom. I mean, the distilleries are growing, the fans are growing, the drinkers are growing. If you were to project out, I don't know, let's just go 10 years. Where do you think we're at in 10? Or is it still steamrolling along, or what do you think?
I don't know, because to me, the interesting thing is the fans, and this is why I think we have a good film, an opportunity to make a good film. I think the fans, the new fans, want to learn more. They're willing to spend money, but they want to know what they're getting, and and as they learn more, they're going to get more and more demanding about it. And as they get more and more demanding, I think there's going to be more pressure. I could be wrong. This might be wishful thinking on my part, but there's going to be more pressure on distilleries to do more non-chill filtered stuff, to get rid of coloring. No. More transparency on some of the whiskeys. I think, I know that's spoken like a Bruichladdich fanboy, because they kind of really rocked the world when they started being so transparent. John Glaser has really rocked the world with his transparency too. But the downside of that is it's put a lot of pressure on distilleries to release non-age statement stuff more and more. And I don't know how true this is. I haven't really looked into it, so I shouldn't even say it, but I'm gonna, because I've had 3 of these. Like Kilchoman, got themselves in trouble a couple years ago. They got so popular so fast, they started bottling all their stock.
Right.
And then where does that leave them in 10 years? And so I don't know. All these distilleries are growing so big now. The big ones are tripling, and I worry that. Well, you know what? We spent a day with Charles McLean, and he said, that for hundreds of years there's boom years and bust years and boom years and bust years, and we're naive to say that there's never going to be a bust again. There's never going to be a correction.
Sure.
I hope it's far off, but I think that China is really
India
fruit right now. Yeah, in India.
Yeah, China and India alone. Just the interest even in the Pacific and what Cavalon's doing in Taiwan. That's been kind of the beautiful thing about it. And I would add in the idea, and I think you'll go with me on this, the idea that someone has their favorite brand, and they're almost like it's their footy team, and they're not going to stray away. That's gone. You've got connoisseurs that want to kind of go wide. They want to try everything. They want to, even bourbons are in, ryes are in, Canadians are in. Oh, something's out of Taiwan. There's something, Sullivan's Cove out of Australia in Tasmania. I got to try that. And I think that's been the kind of the cool thing.
And that's, I'm a big beer drinker too. And I got into this trap with that Untapped app where I'm logging every beer I drink. And I realized I get to this point where it's like, I'll go to a bar and they have 2 beers. One I really, really love and one I've never had. And I felt this pressure to always try the one I've never had. And I had this moment where I was like, well, why don't I ever just drink the one I love? Why don't, what's wrong with just loving this beer? So when I got the app, the whiskey equivalent, there's a couple of them, whiskey and distilled. I did it 2 times, and I thought, no, this is just a trap. I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to try to remember if I've had it or not.
Yeah, I've seen those, and I've never gotten into either one.
You don't need it.
I had a nephew that was on the beer one, but yeah,
you're like a steel trap, and I know kind of what I like. And if he wasn't around, we would have probably only reviewed 87 whiskeys. I'd be like, we're reviewing a new one. It's the Lefroy Triplewood. And without him here, I'd be like, we've never had this. We did that October 2016.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, what do you do? Why are you re-reviewing it? We're wanting to go back? No, it's the first time. You need to shut up. Yeah, I would have no clue. You go way deeper on that than I do. I got to tell you, I'm kind of like juice-centric.
Greg, Bobby Parnell is asking, have you had the Bruichladdich Hidden Glory?
What?
I've never heard of that one.
Me neither.
No.
Hidden Glory. Is this like a new Black Arts? Sounds secret with the Hidden Glory.
I was in the Bruichladdich tasting room. Along the ceiling rafters, they have all these different expressions they've ever released, and it's so daunting. It was so daunting I couldn't even read them all, let alone drink them all. Wow. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
Really?
So I have not had that. A friend of mine in LA has Blacker Still and Redder Still and Golder Still, and I haven't tried those yet. But I'm hoping he's watching and is open to sharing some of those. But he's got quite a Bruichladdich collection. But I've not had that.
Well, look at the Whiskey Scout is commenting. That's why he calls me about his finds anymore.
Sure.
Because Bart doesn't know.
No,
yeah, he does. He's Whiskey Scout. We know he's out traveling the lands,
right?
And he'll shoot me a picture or a text. He's like, "Hey, what about
Traveler
this?"
Of lands.
The Traveler of the Lands.
Yes.
And yeah,
right.
He's been hitting me up because Bart doesn't remember.
Well, and you bogarted. You were like, "Give me all those," and I didn't. I used to get the call from the Whiskey Scout. I know you do. You keep saying
no. One was yours from the beginning. You just haven't paid me for it yet.
Right. I think, yeah, we've got a scout that roams the lands that will literally used to call me and say, "Hey, I found this hard to find whatever." And I'd be like, "Boom, how much? Bam, I'll pay you." All of a sudden, I couldn't identify an ECBP secondary bottling of the year 2017. I'm out. I'm out, baby. I was out. I was like, "I think we've had it." He goes, "I don't think you've had it. It's new." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure we had it." He calls this guy, "Get it. Buy all of them off the shelf. I'll get them all. That's brand new." I didn't know.
I bought every Fescio bottle I could get my hands on until the Kalila, and then I just didn't have any more room. We went to Kalila literally while we were waiting for our ferry because it's right by the ferry port in Port of Skeg, and I just could not fit anything. So it's the only one I left behind.
Oh, I love the story. You bought everything until you had no more room. I love that.
The DP and I had to buy, between us, we split a suitcase. We bought an extra suitcase at the airport, and I had my buddy Alphonse gave me inflatable bags.
Yes.
We had a whole suitcase just of inflatable.
I was going to say, how did you get that back? We've used the inflatable bags before, and I would be nervous.
The guy in the Lockfine whiskey shop demonstrated it by taking an empty bottle and dropping it at shoulder height.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Good.
That's a good sales pitch. I mean, it was solid, you know.
Yeah.
Bart, I had thought of that a while back. I don't think there's any money in it, but we could do a rental Pelican case whiskey transport. Basically, you're in Scotland.
Right.
They need one. You rent it. They bring their stuff home, and then they give it back to us.
Right.
Or what?
Foam core.
Their
core in there.
Foam core. Line packages.
Well, now they've come out with the bubble line packages. I got a couple of them. Yeah, I got a couple of them. I couldn't pay because I'm like, when I go travel, this will be for an extra bag.
Those sample box, like the rolling bags that the whiskey reps carry, where they look like pharmaceutical reps. I want one of those when I go back to Scotland. My friend in Glasgow, the one I was saying about Glenfarclas, she drinks whiskey, but not a ton. But I keep writing to her and saying, "I found this store has this bottle. Can you go get this for me?" And now she has like a closet in her house that is just loaded with my whiskey. She sends me photos every day, like hostage photos. Not every day, every so often.
Now I want to say, Lou's in here. Lana, Lou, and I were able to have a meal together when I was down in Tampa.
I'm glad you had meal in there. I didn't know where you was going with that.
Well, her husband and my wife were there, so it was just a meal. Okay. It was at a place called Haven. It was very, very nice. You and her are going to get along great. She's coming in October to our little whiskey fest in Wichita.
Good.
She's bringing a cigar with her. She said she'd bring me one too, and I told her I don't smoke, but you would smoke the extra one for me because you dig the cigar. Yes. So Lana's coming. Lana is extremely knowledgeable. Extremely.
As she says, don't be jelly. I'm next.
I'm banging the table again. I'm going to get in trouble. Sorry.
Whiskey Throttle is Daniel Copeland. He wants to know did you get a ping from him on Indiegogo?
Oh,
I've gotten 3 or 4 pings now.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I didn't want to get too distracted, but I have gotten 3. I was just waiting for 300, but I noticed that I've gotten 3 more pings, so 4 total.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Bring it up again, Scott. Indiegogo. Go ahead.
I put it in the chat earlier.
Chatted it in.
INDIEGOGO.com.
Sure.
And then Water of Life Film. Yeah. Joining us, Greg Swartz. He's the director of the documentary. They visited several distilleries in Scotland. They are documenting distillery's quest to make the perfect whiskey. Basically, I can't wait for it to come out and watch it.
You know, I don't think I told you. I didn't finish your question earlier. That too, when you said we visited distilleries after we did the Gordon and MacPhail, we went to we spent a day at Ben Romick, which I'm also a big fan of. And not only am I a big fan of their whiskey, the people there were just incredible to us. Like they just were. It was as if we'd been friends for years. And their distiller Keith Cruikshank was just so open and friendly and really they were as straightforward and down to earth as the whiskey is.
Wow.
And that was a great experience too. And then with the last big interview we did was Charles McLean. And then he's agreed to go let us interview him again about the people that we've talked about, because he's sort of, you know, the soul on high.
Beautiful.
Eric Wade is watching. He's got another YouTube channel, but he was recently in Scotland. Yeah, we call him the sniper because of his comments.
Yeah, one shot, one kill.
Yeah, one shot, one kill comments. But he says he packed 9 bottles in his dirty laundry on the way back. Goodness. And because no one would check the dirty socks and skivvies.
I came back with about 17 50 ml bottles, including a 1960s Strathala.
Ooh,
all in dirty socks. And so I don't know if that would keep you from wanting to try some of that Strathala, but
absolutely not.
My question, my standard, I practiced an answer if I'd gotten asked at customs about, you know, how much is this worth? I was just gonna say, you know, who's to say really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't sell this. It's a sample bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I had 9 full bottles, but I had 17 of those little suckers.
Wow.
And one of them leaked, but only one.
Okay.
Made my t-shirt, my Brook Lottie t-shirt smell like whiskey.
Oh, of course. Well, apropos.
For a moment when I opened it, I thought, oh, that's nice. They scented these.
Very cool. All right. Well, you want to why don't you give us plug the site again?
Sure. So at wateroflifefilm.com, it'll take you to our Indiegogo page, but it will also show you the video we made. And the whole team, I'm very proud of the video, I have to say. You know, I'm certainly proud of the part I played in it, but I'm also proud of the team that we put together. The editor, Ted Korsmo, who cut it, did a phenomenal job. And it really speaks to what we want to do and the story we want to tell. And I'm really proud of the trailer. It's gotten a great amount of traction on Facebook.
Cool.
And it really, I think, has broken through a lot of the noise on social media in the whiskey world, because I think there's a richness of experience to it, frankly. And I think our DP, the interesting, Brad Kenyon is our DP, our cinematographer. Brad is not only the first filmmaker I've ever worked with, ever. Like I worked for him for years, and then he and I have collaborated countless times whenever we've gotten a chance, and we're also very good friends. He's also probably one of the 3 or 4 biggest whiskey experts I know, and B, built this incredible whiskey dungeon in his basement. It's a tasting room in his basement. And calling it a dungeon isn't fair to dungeons, but it's actually where we shot a lot of the part of the video where I'm talking to the camera was shot in his whiskey dungeon, and his love of whiskey is so apparent in that video. And I was with him for the last couple of days, so I wanted to give him a shout out if I could, because I think he really,
sure.
Like I said earlier, I think the challenge is you have to make a film that feels like whiskey. Now, we have an advantage over the chef's table in that most people could never go get a reservation at a restaurant in Prague on short notice anyway.
Right.
But we're doing very good whiskeys, but we're not doing like just 45-year-old Macallans that people can't afford. We're doing whiskeys that people can get whiskeys made by these men and women. So we actually plan, the website talks about this a little bit, the sort of interactive thing. We're gonna list the whiskeys, 1 whiskey each featured throughout the film by the different distillers, that people could go buy with their friends ahead of time and then do a tasting as we go through the film. We've actually kind of have a little bit of I say it's a trick. When I explain it, it doesn't sound like that great of a trick, but we're going to color code each whiskey so that when the name pops up on the screen, it will show you which whiskey should go with that. So we don't want it to be distracting to people who aren't doing it. So we thought color was the way to go. You know, at the beginning of the film, there could be a screen that says, you know, blue whiskey, red whiskey, yellow whiskey. And then when you see the blue pop up, when they say Jim McEwen Ardnahoe, people can go get the red one because that's what color the lower third would be. The lower third being their name and credit, you know. So we think it's a really kind of cool way that people could get together with 5 of their friends, watch the film, and drink the whiskey at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes our job a little bit easier. And I don't have to try to have someone explain tasting notes to someone on camera. They can taste it themselves.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't realize you were doing that with the documentary.
Nice,
so yeah, it'll be good.
It was just, it kind of popped up as we were planning this, that people could drink this whiskey. We were drinking it while we were planning it. We were drinking it. Frankly, we were drinking it while we were shooting it.
Beautiful.
When I was at Boone Harbin that day, we were drinking that whiskey. There's a shot in the trailer of me pouring whiskey. I was drinking that whiskey.
We do that all the time.
Sure.
Drink while we're working.
Cool.
Hey, it came up a couple of times, Greg. People asking what other projects have you been involved in? And I know you list at least one on the Indiegogo page, but do you want to list some movies that you've been involved in, people you've worked with? Sure.
Well, so a few years back, I directed a feature film called Another Harvest Moon. And a lot of the people on this team were on that film as well. And it's about a bunch of 4 old friends in a nursing home that are sort of dealing with the ends of their lives, and in a comedic way. I wouldn't say it's a comedy. It's sort of it's a drama, but because of the actors that we worked with, we got to work with Ann Mira and Piper Laurie and Doris Roberts, Ernest Borgnine, and then Sybil Shepherd and Richard Schiff and Cameron Monaghan, who's now becoming a really big star, and Amber Benson. And it's an incredible cast for a small film, and it was humbling because most of the film was Ernest Borgnine, Ann Mira, Doris Roberts, and Piper Laurie sitting around together, talking and just riffing on each other. And these actors. I mean, Doris Roberts won 8 Emmys, and Piper Laurie's a multiple Oscar nominee for The Hustler and Carrie, and Ernest Borgnine's an Oscar winner, and Ann Mira was amazing, and she and I actually became really good friends, and she was so funny, and so that was the biggest thing that I've ever done, and that's very different from this thing, but other than maybe there's a sort of, I'm hoping there's a humanity to both of them that we're trying to explore, but that's on Amazon Prime. If people want to see it, they can stream it. It's there now. I've done lots of corporate and commercial work. People have probably seen, if they fly United Airlines, The Big Metal Bird. It's like this web series that United Airlines does about behind the scenes of an airline, and I did a couple of those. And then last year, our production company did a thing called Righteous Plant Alchemy, about this very interesting drinks company in the Bay Area, California. These guys, these venture capitalists, are creating companies that are partially owned by a charity. So they're for-profit companies. Like 90% of them will be owned by for-profit people, but that way the charity doesn't have to spend its entire working life raising money. Actually, the first thing they did was they created a drinks company where drinks are made out of ingredients from places around the world where people are really struggling. So they get a drinks designer to come up with these drinks using different ingredients. And then that charity gives money back to them to help fight human trafficking and help empower those people. And now they're in every Target in the country. They're in Whole Foods, and they're just good people. And that's online now. It's on YouTube. It's called Righteous Plant Alchemy.
What's that again?
Righteous Plant Alchemy. The drinks company is called Rebel, REBBL, which is roots, extracts, berries, barks, and leaves. Huh. The original drinks were made out of those ingredients.
I love that, because that's using the whole capitalistic format in order to give them.
Exactly. And I mean, if you watch the film, it's only a 10-minute film, but if you watch the film, one of the main guy whose idea it was, he explained, David Batstone, he says, charities spend 90% of their time just raising money to go do what they want to do. We wanted to create a situation where they don't have to worry about that. They'll get funded and they'll have a budget for the year and they can go do their good works. So it was really sort of 21st century thinking at its best.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's something we're very proud of, and that was kind of our first foray into the food world. The other thing I'd like to mention, if I could, is I just finished. We haven't even started promoting this yet. Next week we will. Not a week from tomorrow. I did a TV pilot for a show called Eatable, where we challenge like really high-end chefs to create meals but the catch is they have to create a meal using their sort of brand, but for people with food allergies. Huh. And so it's a sort of a fun show. It's not a heavy show where we sort of take these chefs and say, you're an Italian chef, you have to make a complete Italian meal, but you can't use dairy. A French chef, but you can't use wheat, or and there's a young man who's the host of it who actually has life-threatening food allergies, and he's the host of it and the creator of it, and I directed it, and we're really excited about it. So that's, again, more food stuff.
Well, that's cool.
You got a few people asking if we're talking to Ryan Reynolds. And I can say, I don't know if you've gotten that before. You kind of look like Ryan Reynolds.
No, I have not. I've gotten Seth Rogen, which is decidedly different.
Yeah.
I got someone asked me for my autograph thinking I was Seth Rogen a few years ago.
Oh.
But no, not Ryan Reynolds.
Well, he's hot right now. That's good.
Yeah, you can't tell from this, but I'm 6'6".
What? Me too.
Really?
Yeah, I ran into Lana Lou in Tampa. She's like, "You're a lot bigger than I thought." And I'm like, "I hear that a lot, Lana. I hear that a lot."
Yeah.
6'6". Way to go. You and I need to hang out. We can put this little guy right in between us.
Yeah. I'm 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, little fella. Yeah, just little tiny guy.
Yeah.
My business partner Trevor is working with a guy named Greg right now, who is probably 6'1", and Trevor calls him Little Greg because of me.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm even a double. I'm like a double fan now. All right, brother.
All right. So just again, close out real quick. Just tell people where to find your site, where to help you out with your film, with your documentary.
And we're going to have you back on once this film is out. But go ahead and plug it again.
With a better Wi-Fi.
Well, it'll be the
network.
Future. That'll be the future.
Yes.
You might wind up in the Midwest at some point too. We're doing a challenge to whiskey clubs around the country that if they can help us raise $2,500, we'll go screen the film at their whiskey meetings on our expense.
Wow.
So we're hoping to come around. I know we're talking to someone in Chicago, so I know you're not there, but I'm saying we might, get to the Midwest.
Sure. Well, I got a brother in Chicago. There's always good reason to see a brother.
I think we're going to Bakersfield, so we have to go a bit farther east than that. But so yeah, wateroflifefilm.com. It'll take you to our Indiegogo page, or go to indiegogo.com and then go to Water of Life Film. And we have about 10 days left in our campaign. I know we're about 52, 53% of the way there, which apparently is actually a good place to be going into your final week. I've been told, as you said, the last week is the big week, which kind of is a mixed bag for me because I'm on vacation, but I got 8 good people around me. So they're going to pick up the slack in my absence.
Sure. Well, Indiegogo is good too because it's not all or nothing, correct?
Right. Yes, that's true. And we've had a number of groups reach out to us in the last week that have offered to host events on our behalf as well. So, and we have some other things planned as well because our goal is to shoot in October. Because I get a lot of complaints from a lot of people on our crew about this. Like, why do we have to go to Scotland in October? Because I want Scotland to look like Scotland, because that's why whiskey tastes like it tastes.
Sure.
If it looked like Tampa, it would taste different.
Sure.
And I want to go in October when I lived there in October, and I know what it's like, and that's what I want to put on camera. And I'm sorry if everyone has to wear waterproof pants. This will keep them warm.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, wateroflifefilm.com, and we'd appreciate any support anyone can give us. We really view everyone as partners. It's just this big whiskey community, and it's been great. Like, you guys have been great.
Yeah, Whiskey Fabric is awesome.
Yes, the Whiskey Fabric. I love that. I have a mark on that hashtag on Indiegogo, or on Instagram rather.
Perfect.
Very nice. Well, Greg, thank you for joining us, and we'll close this out. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. We had a bunch of people watching through the technical difficulties.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah,
I'll be in touch when my friend Glenn said he didn't know who you guys were, but he said as soon as he heard what your name was, he was absolutely going to watch. So
beautiful. There's a little bit of whimsy. We bring Scotch with whimsy, or whiskey with whimsy.
So I think hopefully you got some new fans from our coterie of miscreants tonight.
Good coterie.
Good. All right.
Well, thank you.
Stay on the line. We're going to shut this down, but you'll still be on with us, Greg.
Right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro. Dummies.
Beautiful. Still live. Lana.